means to me. And that's the reason Loudon County is a great place to live. I'll give you one thing this is for my friend Van sitting there. I was at Oak Ridge at physical therapy, and the nurse was there. And she came from Lenore City. She lived there. And Van came in with his wife, Sarah, to say hi and see how I was doing. When he left, she looked at me and said, "Who was that?" I said, "That's Van Shaver and his wife, Sarah." I read his website every week. So there you go. One more thing. Okay, I'm going to call the Loudon County Commission meeting to order. First up is comments by the general public. Brian Beers, come on up.
Henry, explain about the clock.
We have no clock tonight, and I was going to tell you when you get up there, Adam's going to be timing you. So you got still the same 5 minutes.
My name is Brian Byers. I'm a resident of Stockton Valley. And what I want to talk about is where they're doing the solid waste appointment of the new appointee for the solid waste board. I feel like the commission needs to step up and oversee or whatever the solid waste board is, because of the road that's coming out by the landfill is just out of this world of a mess. And I've sent a lot of pictures. I keep track of it. I drive through there every day. I take pride in what I work for, and it costs way too much money to run through a mud mess every time it rains. And I've sent a lot of pictures. I'm not getting support from the solid waste board. Too many years and years of it is too long to be dealing with it. Every time there's a problem, they always say, "Well, we're working on a resolution. Well, we're working on a resolution." I've been hearing resolution for years and years and years. And we need answers. We don't need resolutions. My community I live in, we need a resolution. And I'm just gonna leave it up to you, and I'm asking y'all, each and every one of you, if you had to drive through that mess, you wouldn't like it. So if it's in your district, if that landfill was in your backyard, you wouldn't like it. I do know of different times that there's been mud at other districts, and it may not be from a landfill, it could be from construction, it could be from whatever. And let me tell you, some people didn't like it. If a mud run on their property, they didn't like it. I don't like driving my cars through it. That's all I gotta say.
Robert,
Thank
did you want the email thread earlier today from TDEC?
I was not.
I'll send it to you.
Well, what are we doing? Is TDEC addressing this again? I know this has been ongoing since I've been here
Forever.
for 2 years.
10 years since I've been here,
Yeah.
so.
20 years since I've been here.
But what can we,
Right now, TDEC, I'll send the email out to everybody.
okay,
TDEC right now is pushing for, we need something done. I don't remember the names exactly, so I don't wanna speak those, but I'll send them out to everybody.
okay, thanks.
So, and that's dealing with the mud in the road and,
Coming out of the
cause
list.
I've got pictures from Brian, I've got pictures from several others,
Absolutely.
and they want something done.
It's gone
So-
on long enough.
Is TDEC gonna step in and say, hey, either you do this or we're shutting you down?
The email today sounded like it had a little teeth to it, finally.
Okay.
So,
And I'd like to add one more comment to that, is Thursday, they're trying to expand that contract for another length of time for that expansion. And why should we give them that power to do that when they can't hold the responsibility of the contract they currently have? And it's been ongoing, everybody knows it's ongoing, so why should they give them that permit? I mean, we need the landfill, I need it, everybody in this room needs that landfill. I don't wanna see that landfill close their doors, I don't. But we can't keep allowing them to do what they're doing every time it rains, or every other time it rains. So that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Hate that.
Thank you, Brian. Wayne Schnell.
I've been doing some research, and also, I'd like to see a show of hands of the commissioners that attended the open records training that the state puts on twice a year. Has anybody been to that? Would you give them the I have the Open Records Act, and I'll give you a copy of it. I wondered how you got your training on your duties and responsibilities about the Open Records Act. Do you get training on it? No, okay. On our website is the presentation that they did for the Open Records training, and that is what's up, loudoncounty.com. You can go on there and the slides are on there. But it'd be much better if you attended that. It's twice a year and they come for you. You've done a fairly good job of allowing us to speak at meetings. But one thing I want to emphasize, what is a governing body? Because that's important in that act. Members of a public body, 2 or more members that get together with authority to make a decision or a recommendation to a public body or policy or administration. That's what is considered a governing body. That means when 2 of you get together, you should not be discussing an issue that you're going to be voting on by the commission or a committee. What is a meeting? Anytime a governing body, so if 2 of you get together, that is a meeting, and that means you don't have to necessarily have a quorum to make a decision or deliberate. So that is very important. Deliberation is looking at an issue and forming an opinion or influencing an opinion of another. TOMA is really important. Meetings must be open, so those meetings that you have with 2 people should be open and allowed to have public at those meetings. Adequate notice, agendas, and at least 48 hours in advance, and the person's presence. It should list any motions, proposals, resolutions, and the results of the vote. I'd like to see public comments being addressed in there and adjudicated. Adequate public notice under total circumstances. You have to give the citizens reasonable opportunity to exercise the right to attend the regular meetings, on time, place of meeting. Special meetings need to be noticed. And when we talk about adequate public notice, a good example was the tax increase. You put in the paper that there was not going to be a tax increase. Then 1 week later, you have a public meeting without notice and raise the taxes. What happens if you violate the sunshine law? The courts get involved. One thing that I like to do is see us be able to get access to emails, phone calls, number of phone calls.
1 minute.
So, and I asked at that training 3 different times, what should happen if 2 members get together and discuss an issue? That's a violation of TOMA. We could file suit. That's the only way we have as a resolution, and that's not a very good way to do it. My opinion, we should be able to get a hold of those texts, emails, but right now your attorney is preventing us from getting that with the open records request. So I'd like for you to open those up, especially having to do with the school. Thank you very much.
Rich Anglin.
My agenda item is gonna be about the solid waste commission. I went on the website for the permit and I downloaded the financial documents. financial assurance worksheet. It's available to anybody by going onto their website, and it's a Loudon County Library website. I'm stunned with the numbers that are on the sheet. Our closure cost has jumped to $19.8 million. It used to be 10. Post-closure costs jumped to $5 million. The only thing that remains the same on this piece of paper is the operation cost. If the public should suddenly decide to walk away, the state will give us $1 million, wind up the operation. So I've written to Nita to get copies of the bonds that I've asked for the last 2 months for Mr. Waller, hadn't gotten them. He says they're over at the county. I'll give Erin a copy of my email so that she doesn't have to go searching for it tomorrow. But there's another thing in this document, in the fact sheet, about the water runoff. I didn't know this. The rule says that the operator must design, construct, operate, and maintain a runoff of management system to collect and control at least the peak flow volume resulting from a 24-hour, 25-year storm. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of rain. And the pictures that you all might have seen last week that Brian was so kind to send is the worst pictures I've ever seen on the highway. Absolutely the worst pictures. This thing goes on further. It says the runoff from the east-west-south drainage areas exists to fill area through a culvert under the access road into a natural channel. The channel exists the landfill property and continues across the adjoining property for approximately 500 feet before re-entering the landfill property near the sediment bases. The property owner, Monterey Mushrooms, has provided written permission to allow that to happen. Again, I never saw that. In all of the years, in all of the contracts that I've read, that's news. There's some things that are going on with the enforcement of that contract, or lack thereof, specifically with the damn dirt on the road, that's just unconscionable. And I happen to agree with Brian. I don't know why we're even allowing these people to do this. The meeting is Friday, or Thursday, excuse me, at 5:30 at the Loudon City Hall. You have 3 days that you can sign up to either do an audio or video, and you have until December 23rd to write any comments you want and submit them to the TDEC officials that are reviewing this. So I encourage you all to look at that. As far as what Wayne was talking about, I can honestly tell you, the Open Records Act says that you shall provide these records, even in draft form, 48 hours before the meeting. And I did that against the Solid Waste Commission back in November of '23. I got the ruling from the Open Records Department. Any document that you all put together becomes a public record, even in draft form. And it should be readily available to anybody. Why do I bring that up?
1 minute.
Because in the last 2 months, I've requested from Mr. Waller the meeting materials a day or two before the meeting to get 0 response from him, from the county website, nothing. I'm getting tired of it. Bunch of BS. And last week, 2 hours before the meeting, it was canceled. It was freaking canceled 2 hours. Now, some of us were preparing to come over. I don't like being told 2 hours before a meeting I don't have to show up. And the other part of that meeting was supposed to be a bid opening. What happened to that? Did it occur? That goes well. All right, that's what I got to say. Please show up Thursday and avoid the concerns about the permit, because it's not, I think the permit's already approved. It probably won't make a rest, whether you say a thing or not. Because on this piece of paper, it says
Time's
the
up, Ray.
permit review was done on September 11th.
Time's up.
Thank you, Richard. Eddie Vaughn.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to express opposition to the resolution C that's on your agenda today, which is the rezoning of parcel 51 on Highway 321 south from an A2 to an R1. This is across from me, property I've lived at, family's lived at forever. We're adding more subdivision, potential subdivisions. We have 4 Loudon estates already. We have Calico Village with ample lots there, Wind River with ample lots. There's a lot of traffic concerns for the area as TVA campground is off Yater Road, which is probably where an entrance would have to be. There's currently no plot available for this subdivision plan either. But just concerned about the traffic there. There's Malibu Boats runs in and out there on TVA's property, also tested boats. But the campground, there's just lots of large vehicles coming and going. There's campers slowing down. It's hard for me to turn left without getting run over there. I'm just concerned with that more traffic coming across that one crossover there. So, anyway, I just want to express these concerns and appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
That was denied by the
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission and
Yes, sir.
Zoning Commission due to a lack of information. And I still have the same, so they're gonna have to,
Yeah, there's no plot available.
yeah, they're gonna have to do some work before they get a carte blanche rezoning.
Deborah Stevenson.
Have some handouts here, so.
Hi, I'm Deborah Stevenson, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about the community asking for a needs assessment before, and taking a pause before you continue on with the school project. Well, what I decided to do was look at, one of the things I noticed was the needs assessment is different to different people. So I went and found a uniform definition of what all the variables are in a proper school needs assessment, and that's what this is. I'm sorry, I don't have enough for all of it. But then I go, okay, let's just focus on one. Let's just look at school enrollment. So that's what I did. When I went in, I thought, well, first thing you have to do is define what is school enrollment, because it does differ. School enrollment is involved when you have a district and they have to mandate that they put seats. They have seats in those schools for just the children in their district only. Once that's done, then they have 30 days before the first day of school to put the open enrollment or AKA transfers. So that's what that first chart is that looks like this. It is the Loudon County open enrollment. That means open seats. So now we're just going to look at high schools. As of June 27th of 2024, Greenback had 100 open seats. Loudon High School had 100 open seats. That means the kids from Loudon County High School they already mandated that they would get in, and then the state asked for that district to publish it. So that's why I found it on the Loudon County Board of Education site. That means 200 open seats for the high schools in Loudon County. Then I looked at Lenore City. It was published on 6/28/24. Again, just about the same time because school's gonna start pretty soon. 30 days, it's mandated by the state, 30 days. Well, by the time they made sure all their students in Lenore City Municipal District had seats, they have 200 high school seats available. So if you add Lenore City High School and Loudon County High School, we're talking about 400 open seats, okay? Sink in, everybody. Now, again, open enrollment, you think to yourself, well, that just sounds like a Medicare thing, or open enrollment means an interval of time. Not in the school system. That open enrollment means once the enrollment is complete, again, those are seats that are open for somebody to transfer into from any county, because Tennessee has open enrollment. Then I started to think, well, I wonder if you add those things in, if you add the transfers in, does that equate to mandating a new school? It says no, school districts in Tennessee are not required to build new schools to accommodate out-of-district students because of open enrollment policies.
One minute.
So I have no more other than that to say. I know it's been said that we have 90% of the people in Loudon County do not even have school-aged children. And for Loudon County schools to even look at Lenore City growth, that's out of district. You shouldn't even be looking there. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Stevenson.
I also have a handout for everybody.
Yep.
Good to see you back, Mr. Cole.
I'm collecting.
Good.
Thanks.
All right. All right. So what's up, Loudon County? .com, our taxes. And it's taxation without justification. So I'm Jim Stevenson, you know my background. For 40 years, my wife and I, we've been analyzing data in extremely complex domains. And your numbers supporting the recent tax hike for $115 million just doesn't add up. So everything we say today is our opinion based on investigation and data analysis that we've done. So I'm asking y'all to prove me wrong, even though you're probably gonna say we don't have to because we already voted for the tax. So anyway, as we see it, the numbers presented by Superintendent Mike Guerin and Commissioner Van Shaver are absolutely wrong. I've given you a handout. I've done a lot of analysis on this. It's got a lot of information on it. But what I want to see here is that Van's counted over 309 students higher than what it actually comes to. And that's important to note. I was shocked to see Van Shaver protest adamantly last time we met here when the discussion of Mike Guerin coming into this commission. He said no. And you have to ask, you know, what's he hiding? What's he afraid of Mike saying? Because we already know what Mike said on June the 24th. He said he got the information from Van Shaver and put in his phony needs assessment that Mr. Guerin already outed him on that. So anyway, what did we do this last week? My wife and I went and met with Mike Guerin. And we asked a lot of questions to Mike, asking for a lot of detailed information, which he said he didn't have. So we turned in a records request to get this information. And that covered voluntary pre-K 3, pre-K 4, pre-K special, out-of-district students, and out-of-county students. And that'll be going into the spreadsheet where you see a lot of blanks. So that's a work in progress right now. But what was funny is, my wife and I talked to him about what a needs assessment really is. We want to go and talk to the Board of Education on the subject. We said we're gonna do that. Well, it was like an hour later or so, he canceled the Board of Education meetings for November. And December's canceled, and we're not even gonna be able to address the Board of Education until January. So, not really understanding what was that. They said it was a lack of agenda item. Are you kidding me? In this time when we're talking about $115 million and the needs of schools and there's nothing on the agenda that warrants a meeting? No, that was kind of fishy. We also went and met with our chairman, Henry Cullen, at his house. Glad to see him up and around.
1 minute.
And then we had our presentation at the yacht club. We had approximately 300 people come in and listen to our presentation. And let me tell you, it was received pretty well. We went and met with Mayor Tony Aiken. Had a meeting with him last week. And then we went and met with the Concord First Baptist Church. Found out that Van Shaver's been busy polluting the minds of you guys, canceling the ability of a church to build their own high school. Now a high school, which you all say we need, but here's the church willing to put their money forward, and you guys worked against it. So I wanna know why you guys are voting on this bogus $115 million fictitious sham. I just think it's outrageous. Student to teacher ratios here, do not even justify, this is the third column in on this spreadsheet. Don't even justify it. There's 14.
That's 5 minutes.
Okay, 14 students in Loudon County per teacher.
That's great.
It's bizarre. And I challenge all of you, let's sit down and let's talk about these numbers and how you ended up with them. Because what my wife talked to you about earlier, and what I'm showing you, the numbers don't add up, doesn't make any sense at all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Rick Graham.
Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak to all of you. While almost all of us in Loudon County are celebrating the election results of November 5th, I thought there were some important highlights that I think warrant some investigation. One highlight is that people voted for mass deportations. That was pretty obvious. People also voted for cheaper gas prices and cheaper grocery prices. And the third thing that people overwhelmingly support is the Department of Government Efficiency that curbs wasteful spending, abuse, and fraud in government agencies. Now that's a federal level, but we saw people come out in great support for that concept. And also, my first opportunity to engage in an election was way back in 1964. I got to shake Barry Goldwater's hand, who was probably the grandfather of conservatism and conserving government funding. And I noticed that beyond the headlines of Mr. Trump getting elected, now normally I don't read fake news, but this morning I picked up Van Shaver's website, and I saw that Mr. Aiken had a war chest of $73,075. And his opponent had a war chest of $431. Over 160 times more money than his opponent had. And interestingly, the opponent, who wasn't the incumbent, got 40% of the vote with a war chest of $431. And I started thinking, well, what does that mean for incumbents? should they be concerned, particularly incumbents that don't follow the Department of Government Efficiency? So, commissioners, I just leave you with that concept, that we now have 2 years, and as Jim indicated, over 300 people at last Wednesday's meeting. We trained over 60 poll watchers. We raised enough money to put 200 billboards in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. We've got a pretty good organization of citizen activists here in this county. And I'm just wondering how all of this election information bodes for 2026. I just want to leave you with those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor Forrester.
My name's Taylor Forrester. I'm here on behalf of my client Miles Minzer. He owns the property at 2028 Wilkerson Road. This is agenda item 2E. Here requesting a rezoning from A2 to A3. Total acreage of this property is approximately 1.35 acres. Part of it, the majority of it's located at the north side of Wilkerson Road, and then another part's located on the south side of Wilkerson Road. Client purchased this property in October of 2003 with a plan of subdividing it into 6 total lots. At that time, under the A2 zoning ordinance, minimum lot size was 1 dwelling unit an acre. The seller's son, the seller was, health was ailing, and seller's son asked, hold off for a few months before you do anything. Just trying to get my dad adjusted, and don't want to see any drastic changes for him. So he held off and waited until this summer, and he prepared a proposed subdivision plat, and at that time learned that the ordinance had been amended. The A2 now requires the minimum lot size of 2.5 acres. What we're proposing, or what the clients want to do, property owner, is still total of 6 lots. I've shown kind of a rendering of the proposed lots that he's wanting to subdivide, and how subdivide, you have an existing home site that would stay, and then end up with 5 new lots on this property. The lots in this area, the majority of them, over 75%, are similarly situated at either 1 dwelling unit acre, at 1 dwelling unit, or 1 acre lot size, a little over maybe, but this would be keeping in characteristic with the area. Understand the reasoning behind the ordinance amendment, the slowdown of the residential development, the density that y'all have been experiencing. You can get that completely. For example, if you have 100 acres, you could end up with 100 new residential lots. Now that would be 40 lots. Here we're looking at a difference of, based on the current zoning ordinance versus the A3, 4 total subdivided lots versus 6. The proposed access for the lots to the north, we would adjust that from where they currently is. It's a blind curve there. Situate that access in a more appropriate location. Again, hopefully you can support this. We have had a community meeting a month or so ago. Met with several of the residents and showed them this proposed subdivision plat. Again, all we're wanting to do is the 6 lots, and we would be agreeable if the commission was inclined to grant the rezoning, is to condition that rezoning to where it would be no more than 6 lots. That would alleviate potential concern that get the rezoning, but then all of a sudden come back with a different plan of more than 6 lots. So we'd be willing to condition that rezoning to allow no more than 6 lots. Thank you.
Thank you. Blake Moore?
Good evening. My name is Blake Moore, and I appreciate the opportunity to be before you here today. In February of 2024, the Loudon County Annual Debt Report utilized a selection of data that utilized a bond rating from March of 2020, which was AA2, which is considered investment grade and in alignment with most counties in Tennessee, but below the state of Tennessee rating of AAA. It's not a bad thing. Also listed was a schedule of long-term notes, other loans, and bonds from 2022, with total bonds payable at that time of approximately $45 million. Also noted in the Fund 151 General Debt Service was a beginning of year fund balance in 2022 of $2.57 million, projected out to 2030, where the fund balance is projected to decline to approximately $1 million, which is a 68% decline in expected fund balance. This is also assuming expenditures remain relatively flat over that same period of time. The total combined outstanding debt service due by 2038 is projected to be approximately $63.3 million, with interestingly no debt due after 2038. The report then drops back in time again to state that in 2022, the debt per capita was only $672, compared to a benchmark that states the debt should not exceed $1,400. That's per person in Loudon County. However, if you compare the same previously mentioned $63 million to the same population, you come up with a much higher debt per capita ratio of approximately $1,200, which comes dangerously close to the not to exceed debt of $1,400 per person. If you add another $115 million in debt, that debt to capital climbs to double the not to exceed amount. In the same February report, it does mention a possible additional $100 million in debt with a 25 potential year note, not the $115 million that was passed. The same report notes many assumptions, including the property tax pennies ballooning from 14.95 pennies in 2024 to 45 pennies in 2025 before settling in at 38 pennies in 2038. Again, this is not my information. This is directly from the Loudon County website and the report from February. The devil is in the details, and there's still a lot to be determined. However, it is concerning that none of this was discussed at the Board of Education meetings, and I have not heard of other options being discussed in a public forum. It is important to note that the fees associated with simply issuing bonds will result in hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees to municipal advisors and securities brokers, which in some cases could be the same person or persons. That brings me to my last point of the current Loudon County Advisory Agreement, which was signed on March 2nd of 2020 for a 5-year term. That agreement is scheduled to end in approximately 104 days. According to that previous agreement, the new contract must be canceled or amended at least 90 days from the expiration date, which means there's approximately 14 days from today to decide if we're going to just let the existing agreement roll over for at least 1 more year. At today's budget meeting, I thought I'd be hearing something about this looming deadline, but I heard nothing. We have a huge debt issue facing us, and as a tax-paying citizen, I expected to hear a lot more robust discussion regarding our debt. Just continuing with the same county vendors for construction and debt management, etc., is concerning and is not going well at this particular point in time. The taxpayers deserve to at least have options for anything with such massive implications to our long-term security in our county. Thank you.
Casey Hackman.
Basically, I just had a question either for Adam, Van, or Buddy. On the ad hoc planning committee, Wayne was talking earlier about the different rules and procedures as far as open meetings. But on this committee that has been, I guess for the last several years, I don't know what the rules are, the procedures, I don't know when they're supposed to have meetings. Why do we only have 2 people instead of maybe 3 or 5 people? Not seeing any kind of information in the newspaper as far as when they were having the meetings, no minutes. Do we have any of that? Or is this just?
It's ad hoc, it was the way commission voted was to create that, and, notifications are from the chairman of each committee. Any notifications supposed to go out from there.
So is Adam the chairman of that committee, or is Van?
That's a question I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I've never attended.
Okay. Are they supposed to do them? like
Never
every
been a
month?
meeting.
We haven't had
That
meetings.
cuts through to it pretty quick. There's never been a meeting.
Okay, so you never had a meeting, so there's no
I
meeting.
spent a lot of time with, I spent a lot of time with Jim Jenkins, but Van had, how many calls did we have, Jim, with ETDD?
None with me.
Maybe 2 or 3.
And I had a lot of calls with ETDD, but I mean, those aren't meetings. That's just where we worked on the zoning, and ETDD wrote up the new zoning
Where's
regulations.
that?
East Tennessee Development District.
Okay,
So, I mean, they're the ones that I worked with on drafting the new zoning. And it was discussed at planning and here at county commission a number of times.
well,
That's a meeting, that's a meeting.
two, I wondered.
It was discussed at the meeting.
It was discussed at county commission and planning commission meetings, yes.
What I wondered too was if it's just the 2 of you, we have more farmland in Satterfield and Whitfield districts. You know, why weren't they consulted? Cause back in 2019, when we had the big to-do where we were trying to figure out what everybody wanted, and you had the meeting at Highland Park, you had the meeting at Eaton's, one in Loudon and one in Greenback. I was at 2 of those, and those were good meetings. We could come in, we could ask questions, give our input, but I haven't seen any of that type of stuff now, so I was trying to figure out how we came to where we are on Article 5 and 3 if you all haven't had any meetings.
We had all those public hearings, and I know these gentlemen attended a number of those.
Yeah.
And that's what really led to Article 5 being changed. I took that project on, worked with Jim, ETDD, and that's how we got there. Like I said, I was discussing planning a number of times, then here at county commission a number of times.
Okay.
So,
Also saying every one of those meetings that he's talking about, Bill and I attended every one of those.
Yeah.
I know it was discussed in the planning commissions that are on Tuesday meetings. Then it was discussed in workshops, every workshop.
Well, back
it was
then,
discussed.
yeah,
It was all discussed and when we
but
made those changes.
recently, like, you all haven't
it
really
was,
had
it was in the
anything to
first
do
half of this
with-
year. It was discussed a number of times at planning and here at the first half of this year. We voted on it back, was it May, Jim?
Yes, sir.
May. So I mean, just talk about March, April, I mean, May.
But the 2 of you all didn't meet before you gave your recommendation.
No.
Okay.
Jim and I met a number of times, and ETDD and I met a number of times as well.
Okay.
Okay. That concludes the public comments.
I have one question for everybody who lives on Wilkerson Road to raise your hand.
We're not,
Well, Wilkerson or Lake Point. And if you support the rezone, please keep your hand up. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Jim Jenkins.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item A through D will be resolutions amending the zoning act of Loudon County, Tennessee pursuant to chapter 713-7-105 Tennessee Code annotated. Item A will be rezoned from A1 Agricultural Forestry District, A3 Developing Agricultural District, Loudon County Tax Map 039, Parcel 121, located at 10792 Prospect Church Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 4th Legislative District. Approximately 1.37 acres only. This was supported by our planning commission.
Was there any opposition from community?
None that I recall, no, sir.
Okay. B.
This will be rezoned from A1 Agricultural Forestry District, A3 Developing Agricultural District, approximately 1 acre only, Loudon County Tax Map 043, Parcel 031, located at 2424 Fairview Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 3rd Legislative District. I believe this was supported by Planning Commission also.
C.
This is the rezone from A2 Rural Residential District, R1 Suburban Residential District, Loudon County Tax Map 035, parcel 51 located at 15051 Highway 321 South, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated 3rd Legislative District. This was not recommended by our planning commission.
D,
This is to rezone from A1 Agricultural Forestry District, A2 Rural Residential District, and A3 Developing Agricultural District, Loudon County Tax Map 018, Parcel 69, located at 4247 Pine Grove Province Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated 5th Legislative District. This item was supported by Planning Commission.
And will be by 5th District Commissioner.
okay. E,
This is rezoned from A2F1 Rural Residential District, Floodway District, to A3 Developing Agricultural District, F1 Floodway District, Loudon County Tax Map 017, Parcel 89, located at 2028 Wilkerson Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 6th Legislative District. This was the item that was tabled at a previous meeting.
You said it was tabled?
It was tabled by this commission at a previous.
What was the vote of planning?
At Planning Commission, it was not supported.
Okay, does anyone from Wilkerson Road want to speak in opposition to this real quick? I know some of y'all didn't sign up, and I know y'all, we've talked, I've gotten probably 6 or 7 phone calls today representing close to 20 people who oppose this, just for safety reasons, changing the character of the area. Does anybody want to speak to this, just briefly?
Evening. My name is Robert Nutt. We have approximately 50 acres adjacent to the proposed development. We also have an additional 9 acres at the end of the road, which is a considerably narrow road, about a lane and a quarter. There's also about 40 acres of undeveloped land beyond this development that we're concerned, if this is approved, could also be approved for rezoning. There's no utilities, there's no gas, it's all steep, there's a lot of runoff, narrow roads. It's on the very far corner of the county. Not sure about emergency services and how well responsive, how responsive it would be there. We don't know specifics about what's being proposed other than the rezoning. And we're here just to basically restate our support of upholding the A2 regulations. We're directly adjacent to Farragut. We have plenty of rooftops there to deal with. We have plenty of traffic. As it continues to build out in Farragut, they're looking at properties on our road, down North Shore, down Lakeland, where I have quite 50 acres. It calls all the time, resisting that, but we just feel like enough is enough. 2.5 acres is plenty, that's what we bargained for when we moved out there 35 years ago, and we just voice our support for it. Continue.
thank you. Jim, I'll add those to the December 2nd commission meeting for a vote.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Mayor Bradshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, under my name there, I have those appointments, I would request commission to approve. I did not ask Commissioner Quillen, but I hope she will continue to serve as our representative for the Chamber of
Sure.
Commerce.
Thank you.
All in
Yes,
favor?
Gladly. Gladly.
Thank you.
You'll be on the 12-second commission meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Pat Kleinschmidt.
Thank you for having me. Item A on my list is a copy machine for the new clerk's office. It's a 60-month lease for $142.24 a month. Item B is a postage machine, a postage machine lease for the county office building that replaces the current one. The lease has expired. It's 60 months for $248 a month. The previous cost of that was $217 a month. That started back in 2019. So there's a little bit of an increase there.
You'll be on the December 2nd commission meeting.
You have C.
And item C is renewal for priority ambulance for a 5-year term. And that's a continuation of our current contract that the first 5 years has expired.
So an increase?
This is just a continuation, just same as what we've got now.
It's an exclusivity agreement, isn't it?
Yes. And Travis is here if you would like to ask him any questions.
And I gotta tell you, I don't have a problem with priority ambulance. They do a good job. Trust me.
You're biased.
Okay,
That's it.
be on there December 2nd.
All right, thank you.
Bill James.
All right, this is a purchase of mobile repeaters. It says for county departments. I threw this on there real quick. It's actually going to our emergency management agency. It is 2 mobile repeaters, 30 programming license, and a maintenance fee for each repeater for 5 years. This is being split between myself and Chase out of our ARPA funds, so.
Will you educate me and tell me what a repeater is with 30
Okay.
license and all this stuff?
So you can get
Everybody in the county has switched to a 800 frequency radio. Not everybody, we're all transitioning now. The repeater, once you walk, you have let's start here. You have a tower on Stevens Lane and a tower in Madisonville. They're ran by the state. That's our only communication with towers. They're building one at Red Stag, which will help us a little, and there's some stuff going on at Stevens that will help. But say you walk into a large building, Home Depot, a barn, your radio loses so much service due to the metal roofs and all the stuff around it. What these repeaters do, they're mobile. If there's a major incident with us, with the sheriff's department, with the rescue squad, these are in like a box or mounted to a truck that will show up, and it takes and boosts that signal from the building to the tower. So it's just for major incidents.
Okay.
Got another question?
No, I thought I was waiting for more. That sounds fine, thank
Was
you.
that an issue when the shooting occurred at Walmart about a year ago?
I think there was some issues with it, and Jimmy may be able to help you.
Yep.
I don't know where he went.
He's out here making stitches.
Okay.
No, he's back there in the candy bar in the break room. I know where he's at.
There's a, did you have communication breakdowns at Walmart during the shooting?
Yes, back then we did, yes.
There you go.
And seeing if something like that, we can get one of these repeaters there, set it up, and
And where will they be stored?
we haven't figured that out.
Okay.
We're going to, if you'll notice, one of them's in a Pelican case. That means it can be taken anywhere. Sorry, you don't have this paper, I'm sorry. The other one is like a vehicle mount, but even mounted in the vehicle, it's only 3 wires. And it can come out and be placed anywhere, as long as you have power.
Perfect, thank you.
What's the cost of that?
And you will find,
Yeah, I'm coming. The programming license is any radio that is programmed, you have to pay to have it programmed. They're $100 a piece, so, to program. The maintenance fees on every radio, we pay $51 a year. So, this is reoccurring, but it's paid for 5 years. So, I talked to Director Branham, and she's willing to absorb the $51 a year into her budget after the 5 years. Am I correct with that?
yes.
So, and the total cost of the entire project is $55,035.28.
That's for 5 years.
No,
No.
that's the only, it's $511 for 5 years of maintenance fees.
Okay.
And and I'll have all this in, this kinda got through together quickly, and I'll have all of it in the agenda for December.
When you hear Aaron at the budget, under my ARPA funds for District 7, I'm gonna give the Calico Village Fire Department 2 repeaters. One they can carry and one will go on a truck. So that'll help out the communications. Okay. Anything else, Bill?
One more thing, Adam. Have we had discussions with, who is it that runs the? Republic, sorry. Have we had discussions with them on this road issue?
They were put on notice Thursday, and the solid waste attorney are touring the landfill this Thursday.
So you don't,
Yes.
I mean, and
Yes.
something was told to do,
Yes.
to fix the road.
Yes.
Cause I've been down there several times and it's ridiculous.
If you could collect money every time that we have submitted this same problem to that outfit, we probably had enough to do something with it.
Do we have any recourse towards them if they don't do what's in the contract? Are they not supposed to keep the roads clean?
They are, and they have a road sweeper going all the time. They have a wheel wash and stuff, but sometimes that's just not enough. So we're meeting out there Thursday.
Van Shaver.
I'd like to move my item to about 30 minutes after the meeting's over, because Billy and Jimmy don't want to leave yet. In all seriousness, no, this is actually a very serious topic. We've all seen what's happening on Interstate 75, north and south in Loudon County. That's less than 20 miles of interstate. And it's basically just become a corridor of destruction and death. I mean, it's every day. So I came in here almost with a single focus, but after Friday night, I maybe have a second focus. I don't know why there's bad accidents all the time. It's as straight a stretch of highway as you can get, but anyhow, according to 911, we've had, in 2023, we had 60 wreck with injuries. In 2024 thus far, we had 59 wrecks with injury. Now this is just 75 from the split to down past Philadelphia. Beside wreck with injuries, in 23 we had 1,918 calls for service. In 2024 thus far, we've had 1,365 calls for service. 23 and 24, the best Rose's figures are, and she can't know all for sure because when it comes to fatalities, we know if they die on the spot, but they may die later and we may not know that. But we've had at least 6 deaths in that same time frame. So we have a problem with Interstate 75, and it's obvious the state of Tennessee has entirely dropped the ball on the interstate system in Tennessee, for sure, right here. If they had equipment on the ground tomorrow, they couldn't have anything done for 10 years, so we're not going to see any change. So where I'm coming from on my end, we've always had the inconvenience of interstate blockages and everything jumping off and starting to hit the back roads in Loudon County. I guess the bridge repair is the longest thing we've had in a really long time, but it was 2 weeks, I guess.
We had more fatalities, I think, during that time period.
There you go. So the trucks, the cars are bad. The speeding down Hines Valley, Hotchkiss Valley, Harrison Road / Loudon Ridge Road,
Broadway.
Hickory Creek,
Broadway's
a little more for it, but these little roads, but the trucks this time took alternate routes that I've never seen. Brazil Road, Providence Pine Grove Road, Mealer Road. We had trucks stuck on all these roads, and probably very fortunate we didn't have a bad accident there because these roads are tiny and they're very crooked. Billy has done a great job in putting up signs. We have signs at almost all the strategic locations that say no trucks. Apparently we have a lot of truck drivers now whom I'm a big fan of. Been half my life dependent on truck drivers, but we must have a lot that cannot read English or sign language anymore because the signs are there. So my question to Billy and Jimmy, is there more we can do? What else can we do? We're not going to fix the interstate. You can patrol all day long and those people just can't drive apparently. Is there more we can do to keep mostly trucks? The cars are bad enough because they fly, but the trucks are deadly, to keep them off of these little bitty back roads. And I'm thinking Hickory Creek, Hines Valley, Hotchkiss Valley, Loudon Ridge, Harrison Road. And in my mind's eye, if we know there's an incident happening, it's gonna last for several hours. An hour, 2 hours, no thing. A bridge blocked for construction for 2 weeks or something to that effect. Is there any way to put together some kind of a plan? I hate to use the word action plan, that sounds kind of fancy. Live action plan that we could send our reserve deputies or somebody. I know that you had people stationed at Hotchkiss Valley for a time during the bridge construction, and I think maybe even out at Hines Valley for a while.
It depends on the cost for certain.
Right.
Have to go into the cost.
So if full-time deputies to spend all day, hours and hours out there, that's not real. Do we still have reserve ability?
We do have reserves, we have about 6 to 8, but those guys usually work during the day, so they were only usually available at night or on the weekend.
Right.
And we just don't have enough manpower to just come in, hit those posts for 2 weeks straight, 24 hours a day, because they're running the whole time. I mean, even though construction may end at 6 o'clock, it's still backed up for 2 hours after the fact, so. And the signs, Billy has done a great job on the signage, but I believe those people are just watching their ways and their directional, their internet, travel ways. So I don't even think they're looking at the signs.
Is there any way to reach out to these companies and have roads marked as not appropriate for trucks or something to that effect? I don't even know what they are. I don't use them.
I think that'd be too vast. I mean, I don't know every trucking company that goes up
No.
to I-75.
I just figured it's something you pulled up on an app and you saw it. I don't know how they work. I don't leave Loudon County. I don't need a map, so I'm good. I know where I'm at. But what do you all, Billy? Yours is a sign thing. You have no enforcement. Jimmy, Billy, either one. What can we do proactively to try to prevent what we saw, what we're seeing every week?
Well, he's done the signs, but the only thing that I know to do would be more manpower to put on those, blockages. And just you'd have to have somebody there regulating and say, you're about to go. Some problem is, you get them there get ready to turn on Harrison, you're gonna send them on, you're going to send them on.
That's in the city limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't say 95 is great,
right,
but it's sure a whole lot better than the little bitty ones they were getting on this last time.
What you're gonna have is you're gonna have someone
You've got
there
school
to back
zones.
that up,
Absolutely.
You've got
and then
school
it'll back
zones.
up, and then it's just gonna be,
And we dealt with that with big trucks coming through when school was getting out. Our middle school, our high school coming out Harrison Road.
We had them at the crossroads,
I
Eaton's
know.
and North Middle.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I had a call at new campground. I met a tractor and trailer on Matlock Bend, right past where Mr. Moore lives. Wow. And I'm like, why are you here? I mean, it's.
I guess
don't
another
know. I
concern
really
we
don't know what
had,
the answer would be.
yeah, another concern we had was when all this traffic's coming through downtown Lenore City, we had people that couldn't even pull onto Broadway. And if we had some big catastrophe, I don't know how you would get help. I mean, it was quite
Loudon put their lights
scary.
on flash, didn't they?
We have
At least a time.
We have
It
a
was unbelievable.
synchronization. It starts out at the interstate, you change one and all the lights change to help keep traffic moving. Didn't work, but.
Well, maybe it moved better, it'd been worse if it hadn't been there, you know?
Calls for service in the county that traffic's backed up right in front of our building, and the city of Loudon came up, I think it was the chief came up and was directing traffic.
Yeah.
And surely, they were
Yeah,
everywhere.
cause you could just get two
We
cars
ordered
out.
keys for the lights, so we can change them, and we can work the lights by remote now, so hopefully that will help. The ones in the county, correct?
Yeah. Well, I've had, as you all had a lot of calls, a lot of concerns, especially down in the lower end down there. Somebody gonna get killed? I said, well, I don't know what to
It's
take.
just your interstate traffic that goes to a secondary route, even a third route. You get on these back roads, and you have signs, you put it up, and enforcing those signs, that gets.
Well, if they're there and they're stuck on Miller Road, they're all, write them a ticket, but they're already there, I
Right,
mean.
It doesn't solve the problem.
That didn't solve the problem.
Has anyone tried to reach out to Waze and request a map revision? Online, it says you can visit WME Features Request Form and submit a request because of safety issues.
We spoke about that a little earlier, about trying to reach out to them.
TDOT did that
How about,
The bridge, PDOT did that.
But one of the biggest things is this big body of water running right through the middle of the county.
You got two
That-
crossings.
You got two, yeah, so if you're trying to go either way it's constructed.
well, I
Yeah,
know
Friday night, the traffic was just,
TDOT has
Don
a,
went after the wreck on the bridge, I like to never have got out on 11 coming out of the high school. It was already backed up from the one 3 miles down.
and we didn't open it back up until 2:30 in the morning.
well, one of the guys that used to be the newscaster for the Knoxville station, Mark Nagy, is the spokesman for Tennessee Department of Transportation. Surely there's something that they, at least that they can communicate with the big rigs that are driving on the interstate, that they can, like, the Amber Alerts or whatever, that, I don't know if they have that available, but
I don't know.
that would probably be a good place to start. Is that, is there anything the state Department of Transportation, can you send out to the truckers that this is going on and,
The problem is when they do that, they find an alternative route, which puts them right here. I mean, they have the signage, you know, like you're going, like where it's blocked.
The old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
I'm just saying, you know, you have these roads are closed to semis as you go through. I don't know,
I have no answer. All I know is I've had the concerns brought to me, and I said I certainly will have the conversation with whomever we can have the conversation with. I'm saying to Billy and Jimmy, they're our two highest, whatever, non-constitutional officers, what are they called anyhow?
I'm constitutional.
They have a lot of power. Billy Pickle is the titular head of the Republican Party in Loudon County, granting the largest number of votes of anybody in the 2022 election. But we've got the two most powerful men in Loudon County right here, so I'm just asking them to look at anything we can to try to alleviate this problem. That's all I have no answer.
This Highway Patrol's had a death.
Tracy Hatton has her hand waving back there if you want. I don't know if she drives.
I'm just gonna say, I've owned trucks for 30 years. The problem nowadays is technology.
Right.
You get these guys in a truck and the first thing they're gonna do is look at their Garmin.
Yeah.
Their Garmin is gonna tell them which way to go.
Right.
So
they don't
nobody
read
knows
signs.
how to read a map anymore.
Right.
Even
Old
my own
trucks,
child, she's
65 miles
27,
an
and I
hour
don't know that
radius.
she knows how to read a map.
So
It's
I'll
always
reach
on
out
the
to the highway, Tennessee Highway Patrol and the TDOT. And see if we can maybe come up with signage.
Hey, very good. That's all we're hunting. Just Billy, whoever you can, T-Dot, you, whoever you can, if we can get any kind of relief. Maybe there won't be any more wrecks or bridge work.
The help trucks stop around Walk Road, maybe we can get some help trucks that help with signage about, not so much of traveling this way, but not to travel that way.
And they did a poor job putting their signs up during the bridge construction. They
I found out about it on Facebook.
well, they should have started the split saying, get over, get over, get over. But anyhow, thank you, fella. That's all I was asking for. You got to spend a good night with us here for an hour, and it's been a good evening.
Thank you very
Do
much.
you think the speed
Thank you.
limit on the interstate causes contributes to
My personal
accidents?
opinion is it's too straight.
Too straight?
They go fast.
It's too straight, people go, their speeds increase, they get distracted,
We need radar and tickets and those things.
But I'll take the T-Dot and Highway Patrol.
Very good, very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Billy, now you can go get the couch.
Aaron, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, these items are the recommendations of the Budget Committee. There's approval for ARPA funds, contribution in the amount of $22,681 for the Philadelphia Fire Department from 4th District, Mr. Whitfield. So there's gonna be a reapproval of ARPA funds that was on the last meeting for $10,000 to Loudon Alive from the 1st District. This is just to allow for public notice in the newspaper. There is approval for memorandum of understanding for the Health Department and Task Sewer Grant match from the ARPA funds. This is just to be able to obligate their funds, okay? Approval for interlocal agency agreement for Loudon County Fire and Rescue for the ARPA funds to be obligated with them for their project. There's an approval for a 5-year contract to fund body cameras at the jail and tasers for the Sheriff's Department and the jail. At the last meeting, you'll remember that $6,000 was coming out of Mr. Whitfield's ARPA funds to begin that contract. The Budget Committee decided to go ahead and begin the body camera contract also which will be funded out of the county general fund for $12,830.05 in the current year. There's an approval to pay in-service supplements to eligible officers in the amount of $800 prior to reimbursement from the state, but that is something that we get back towards the end of the year. There is an approval to apply for an SRO grant retention bonus, which is $800 per officer for current eligible SROs. The state will refund that also. There's an approval to change a position from full-time to 2 part-time positions at EMA. There was an approval for ARPA funds contribution in the amount of $51,000 to Tellico Village Fire Department from Mr. Cullen, and that was for the repeaters that he was talking about earlier. There was an approval for ARPA funds contribution in the amount of $13,000 for Our Place Adult Daycare from Mr. Cullen. There's an approval for the health department to apply for an ELC grant, which was $66,000 with no matching funds. And then there's amendments in Fund 101, which is the county general. It includes insurance estimates, wage estimates, and workers' comp adjustments. The EMA personnel change, the recognition of the in-service payment to the sheriff's department, and a few line adjustments. I have that it'll increase the overall fund balance by $10,000. However, when we take out the $12,000 for the body cameras, that'll cause the fund balance to be used by about $2,000 in county general. In the amendments for Fund 116, all of the adjustments in there were for insurance estimates, wage estimates, and workers' comp. And when I'm saying wage estimates, it's just because in the current year, there's an extra 8 hours for hourly employees. And so we have to do an estimate to add that money in at the end of the year. The overall effect for Fund 116, which is the Convenience Centers Fund, is a decrease to the fund balance of $13,777. And then the amendments in the ARPA Fund will be reflective of the approvals that have been mentioned earlier, which will have no effect on the fund balance. And then there are amendments in Fund 131, which is the Highway Fund, which is also for the insurance, wage, and workers' comp estimates through the end of the year. The overall effect is a decrease to fund balance of $28,782. And that's all that I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Aaron. Anything else?
Go on.
Call for an adjournment.
I think it would be appropriate to recognize in a meeting Friday night, although very tragic, the collaboration and cooperation from our first responders, no matter the agency. Friday night was amazing, and just another incredible reason that we're truly blessed here in Loudon County. Everybody from THP to LCSO, LPD, Loudon Fire, Fire and Rescue, there was a little bit of everybody pitching in and working, and like I said, that situation could have been a lot worse, but our first responders did a top notch.
Priority.
Priority, I'm sorry, yeah.
Bring it back.
They almost had a baby on the way, so, but they're worthy and well-deserved recognition on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
They did a good job. Okay, we'll consider it adjourned unless there's something else.
Hey, Bill, when you get up, I want to show you something. When you have